Hi everyone, welcome to my channel, and if you're new here, I am Bob, and I'm documenting my journey towards retirement. Currently, I'm sitting at age 63 with 65 as my goal for retirement. Today, I want to share why I chose age 65 and why I chose $500,000 as the amount we need in our portfolio as my retirement goals and how I'm planning to make that work. Let's face it, retirement planning can feel overwhelming. There's all this advice about needing $1 million, waiting until 67 or 70 to claim Social Security, needing 85% of your gross income at your time of retirement to live a comfortable retirement. I wanted something realistic, achievable, and will allow us to live out a comfortable retirement, and that's why I picked 65 and $500,000. Why 65? First, that's the age I feel both financially and personally ready. Personally, I could probably quit work right now and not miss a beat. I'm ready to retire. Full Social Security benefits start then, although there are definitely pros and cons of waiting a bit longer to collect. But 65 aligns perfectly with continuous health care coverage, as 65 is the age for Medicare eligibility. That means I can start drawing income from Social Security, my pension, and my portfolio while keeping my health care costs manageable. Since my wife is on Social Security disability and has been on Social Security disability for 12 months now, by the time I'm turned 65, she will be 62 and she'll have a full 2 years of Social Security disability under her belt, which means she'll have the 24 months of required disability payments to be eligible for Medicare. So at the same time she's eligible for Medicare, I'll be turning 65, I'll be eligible for Medicare, and therefore we won't have to bridge the gap between my health insurance at work and moving into when we can take Medicare outside of work. About 2.5 years ago, I started feeling like I just don't want to go to work anymore. I got up in the morning, had worked since age 14 and 50 years in the workforce. Now it seems to be enough for me. I just got up, decided, hey, I really don't want to do this anymore. So that's when I started considering, okay, let's look at this, let's get it done, let's figure out the age and set a goal. Now let's talk about the $500,000 portfolio goal. Some people might be thinking that's not enough. In all honesty, there's times I'm thinking that as well. But here's why I chose it. I combined it with other income sources, such as my Social Security, a small pension, and my wife's Social Security disability. When you add all that together, $500K in investments is enough to cover our lifestyle goals without extreme sacrifices. I remember a few years back, I started looking at some financial documents and I thought, wow, I'm over 59 and a half, which means I can actually start withdrawing from my 401ks without taking or incurring the 10% tax penalty if you do withdraw money. I remember back when I first started putting money back into my 401ks looking at that 59 and a half age and thought, wow, that's a long time. And I really never thought about it after that. And then all of a sudden it hit me looking at those documents. I'm getting old. I've got to make a plan here. There's going to be a time where I want to quit work or I simply can't work, and I'm going to need to make sure we're set up and I'm set up to retire. My money philosophy has always been fairly simple. You can either make more or spend less, or a combination of both. You've always got to spend less than you make. And again, if you are in trouble, there's no easy way out. You've got to either make more or you got to spend less. Really what it amounts to for me is whether we'll have enough income to meet our expenses. Income, in my eyes, is fairly easy. With income, you've got your fixed income sources. The only variable we might have in income is our $500,000 savings portfolio and how much that may grow or how much it may lose. Some expenses we got going into retirement are going to come off the books. So we've got we got one personal loan, sizable amount that we used to remodel the house on the inside and out. We've got one car payment. Both of those are going to be coming off the books before we turn 65. We will have to carry our mortgage into retirement for the first 5 years, so that'll play a factor into that. Even when you're done with your mortgage payments, you've still got your personal property taxes and you've got your homeowner's insurance, which are a major expense as well. So those are going to still have to be factored in. Otherwise, though, expenses, you can play around with those a lot. And in future videos, I'll show you where we're at with expenses now, where we expect to be at with them when 65 hits, and where we may have some flexibility in playing with those numbers. Another reason is $500,000 seemed like an achievable number, which it definitely looks like, that I can shoot for over the next couple of years. It's a number I can actively plan for, keeping me focused without feeling I'm shooting for a pipe dream. Right now, we're sitting in the vicinity of somewhere around $450,000 in our savings portfolios. So we're looking at an additional $50,000 from now until age 65, which doesn't at all seem like unachievable. It's something that can definitely happen. And if I keep contributing to my 401k, there's a good likelihood that it will, and will be set up for what we're planning. So how am I making this happen right now? I have a few key strategies. I'm maximizing my contributions to my 401k and will be doing that up until the point of retirement. Of course, my employer will match that by 6%, which is a big help as well. Once retired, I do plan on withdrawing a sustainable percentage from my portfolio each year. That'll hopefully have growth in it and keep that growing. I've seen a lot of portfolios now that I've looked at over YouTube and online, and a lot of people, it'll amaze you, but a lot of people have more money when they die than when they started, especially if you use that 4% rule. So the people that use that 4% rule, which is not out of the question for us either, will actually pull 4% every year out of their portfolio, and the average growth by the time they die may have been 8%. So you actually have more money when you die than when you started. So you can look at stuff like that and kind of factor those type of things in and get a good idea where you may end up and how much you can withdraw and still be safe. So those are some of the things we'll look at. Another thing we'll be looking at is the Social Security start age. Right now, of course, I'm 63 now. Have not started taking Social Security yet because I'm working. 65, there is a good chance I'll start taking it then. The reason why I might not is with Social Security, if you're married, if I passed away, my wife wouldn't get both her Social Security payment and mine. You would get the higher of the two. Let's just say passed away at 70. Then she would get whatever amount I'm taking in, which would be the amount that I was eligible for at 65. Right now, that sits around $2,700. If I wait till 67 to take it, well, that's about another 8% increase. So you'd be sitting over $3,000. And that's what she would get if I were to pass away. If I wait till 70 to take it, again, add another 8% onto that. So you're into the $3,600 range that she'd get if I passed away. So that's a big factor in this. Leaving my wife enough money in a fixed income source rather than having to take away all her Social Security and just having mine to rely on at a smaller amount is going to play a big factor in this. Healthcare planning is another thing I'm looking at. Medicare and Medigap coverage are already factored into my budget, so I'm not caught off guard. They all have possible inflation increases, but I have heard recently that Medigap policies can have substantial premium increases at times. These, I believe, are looked at annually, but the companies are allowed to increase those Medigap policies on an annual basis. And I have heard of some pretty substantial increases in those. Whereas your Medicare, I think it's Part B that you actually do pay for. With that, it's a cost, it's an inflationary raise in premium, and that will happen, but it won't be near as much as some of these Medigap premium increases I've heard of. And we will have a Medigap policy. I'm pretty sure of that. So all these steps, they make me more confident that the $500,000 is going to be a solid foundation for a secure, flexible retirement. Your numbers may be bit different, but the key takeaway is this. You got to set goals that make sense for you, plan carefully, and take action consistently. If you want, I can share a step-by-step breakdown of how I'm planning my monthly withdrawals, budget, and Social Security strategy in a future video. I probably will one way or another. So make sure you hit that subscribe button and join me on this journey. My next video is going to be on a pre-retirement checklist. I'll show you exactly the checklist I'm using and exactly where I'm at in the process of each one of those. And as we move through this, you'll be seeing more numbers and how they all work together. So I hope to see you guys on my next post. Thanks.